we are here again. It's the Christian half hour of NTA Mina, and hosting you as usual is Chesna Milo Dorothy Nuhu, and I say a very warm and joyful welcome to you. I hope that you did have a very good time today at service and that you have been able to obtain some measure of new anointing that will carry you forward. That is something you cannot afford to miss every time you go to the Lord. So here we are again. We are always happy to be in the presence of the Lord. And today I have a guest. And this guest, he flew aeroplane till he reached Mina. It's a very amazing friend, from a long time ago. So I'm happy to introduce you today, Pastor.
Yes.
Ben Aripo.
Yes.
Yeah.
My pleasure. My pleasure being here. It's a good time to come to Mina. It's also a good time to come and share time. Even if it's an half hour with the brethren, I bless you in the name of the Lord.
Amen.
And I pray that God will give us a happy moment together this half hour in Jesus' name.
Amen. Well, you see now, modern prayer, the Lagos style. Eh? Okay, so today we're going to be talking about something interesting. But before we go, let's just do a reminder from Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That is what this version says. I know other versions talk about my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
So the reason why we are anchoring our conversation today is because we're going to be talking about something that many people suffer from, but they either do not know or they know, but they don't want to talk about it.
Yes.
So we are here today with, I call him Uncle Ben, so never mind. Yeah, he's Pastor Ben, but it's Uncle Ben. So Uncle Ben, today we're going to be talking about brain training. Yeah.
Brain training, yes. We're talking about brain training. I think it's, for some of you might be hearing about it for the first time. Brain training. How do you train the brain? Okay, let me complicate it even more and say, okay, in talking about brain training, we also talk about dyslexia. Dyslexia.
You go make people buy tongo.
No, okay. Dyslexia is spelled, for those of you who haven't heard it before, it's spelled Dyslexa. Dyslexia.
Oh,
now,
boy. I didn't get it.
Dyslexa. Dys means dis, abnormality. In Latin, in French, not in French, in Latin and Greek, dys is always abnormality. Then lexia is language. So that's why we say dyslexia is a language-based disorder. So people who have dyslexia, it's caused by their brain. It's a brain condition. That's how brain training comes in. So people with dyslexia would usually struggle with things like reading, writing, spelling, comprehension, and it comes associated condition of attention deficiency. They can't focus and concentrate and hold a conversation or even stay on task for more than 5 hours or 5 minutes. For some of them, 5 minutes even too long. So when you find someone, either a young child or an adult, struggling with reading, writing, spelling, and comprehension, then you could say that that person has dyslexia. And the solution to dyslexia is brain training. I'll come back to that.
Yeah, because we need to talk about where our paths first crossed.
Yes,
I remember that you were doing consultancies then.
Yes.
And you were building capacities for organizations.
Yes.
And at that point in time, you were working for a Christian organization doing work on HIV at the time.
Yeah. At the time, it was very innovative. At the time, it sounded like, what are these people talking about doing HIV and AIDS? But the Christian Health Association of Nigeria was actually at the forefront of trying to educate create awareness about HIV and AIDS at the time. And it was in one of those consultancies where I went to help one of their partner organizations, the Christian Women Association, that then we met in that consultancy.
Oh, yes,
and I remember
certainly.
that was years
Yeah.
back. Yeah. So,
Years
yeah,
back.
Yeah.
And ever since, more churches have bought
yes,
into the HIV programming.
Yes, yes.
So it's no longer, oh, these people sin, that's why they are HIV
Absolutely,
positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a very welcoming thing that the church is now even, there are some churches I understand that even have a whole full departments that are focused on taking care of people with HIV and AIDS. So it's not just about giving them the spiritual care, they're also giving them the physical care, being part of the distribution of the commodities and the ARVs and stuff, which is quite encouraging.
It is innovative,
Very,
it
very
is
innovative.
encouraging. And now that you are a pastor, what is your parish of
My
the
parish-
RCCG?
Yes, our parish is called Redeemed Christian Church of God, Saints of Water Parish. Scent of Water Parish.
Scent.
Scent.
Of
The smell
water.
of water. Yes.
Yes,
Scent of water. You know, in Job chapter 14, verse 6, 7, and 9, Bible says if a tree be cut down,
Oh, yes.
when it comes in contact with the scent of water,
Yeah.
it shall rise again.
Yes, so
so
it
that's
will
what it
start
is.
budding.
It shall start budding and it shall
Yes,
rise again. So
yeah.
that's where we are. That's our focus. That when people come to the parish with problems,
Yes.
as often is the case, when they come in contact with the scent of water, which is Jesus himself, then they would have a freshness of life, the newness of life. All things are made possible by his name, in his name, and by his power.
I like
So
the
that's-
scent of water.
It is wonderful.
I like the scent of water.
It is, it
You
is.
know, and then when you have the opportunity not only to have the scent, but to drink
Yes,
of the
that kind of
fountain.
of living waters.
Yes, so then we are like the woman, you know, by the
Absolutely,
well.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
I used to tell people that, you know, sometimes people forget that when they say the scent of water,
Wait.
by just approaching and hearing, if you grew up in a village, in around a waterfall, you actually do know and perceive the scent of water.
Oh, yes,
Water has a scent.
Yes, it
And when
does.
you perceive it, that's what it means. It doesn't mean even drawing the water or drinking it yet, but just perceiving it. Oh my God, that's so powerful.
Yes, it
So-
is, honestly.
So, yes.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Lord is good.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
Always.
I know we can go on and on, but we have to get on to the main thing
All right,
today.
yeah.
Because one day, you now told me this story
Yes.
about one brain training,
yeah.
and I want us to talk about how you got there.
Okay, now, again, as a Christian parent, I have, by the grace of God, I've been blessed by God with 3 children. My first son is very smart, winning prizes in school. My daughter, very bright as well. But comes the third one, who my wife was saying, oh, he's not doing very well. He's not doing very well. He's not meeting his milestones. Of course, because the first 2 are smart and bright, I say, never mind. He will get over it. He will catch up and all of that. But then by the age of 9, she then travels and I come to help him with his homework, prepare him for school. It was at that point I realized that he was unable to read, write, spell, or comprehend. The books he brought from school, he couldn't read them. And I was shocked, absolutely traumatized. How can a 9-year-old child not know how to read? Okay, I say spell house. And he goes, K.
Oh God, why,
Of
Jay?
course, I slapped him and I said, okay, no, I mean, watch my lips, watch my lips. House. He says, oh, M.
Oh man.
At that point, I realized there was a problem. Of course, I went as usual, as is often the case with men. I turned the whole blame to the mother. I turned the whole blame to the school. And the next Monday, I take him back to school to harass the school about
To lambast.
the school. Yeah, why can't this child read? Blah blah blah. After everything I've paid, but then they told me another dozen of things that he can't do. Oh, he can't settle in class. He's distracted. He distracts himself and distracts other people. Blah blah blah. All right, okay. Then I get involved and start looking for a solution in Nigeria for 2 years, and I couldn't find any solution until we traveled to the US, and of course, still looking for a solution, and I came across brain training. For the first time, I heard people talk about brain training. Of course, they did an assessment for him. They checked his brain. It's nothing medical. They checked his brain and discovered that first, they gave me 5 diagnoses. One, he has weak cognitive skills. God in his infinite wisdom has put in our brains, all of us, God is wonderful. All of us have 5 or 7 things he put in our brain to enable us process information and remember stuff. So he doesn't have
Cognitive.
good cognitive skills.
Oui.
Then they told me he had attention deficit disorder with hyperactivity. That's why he can't settle in one place and sit in one place. So he's jumping from place to place. Every time when the teacher is teaching and he doesn't follow, doesn't understand, he sneaks out and goes to the orchestra room and plays drums. So in the whole school, when the drums are going on, they know who is responsible for that. They shout his name. That's attention deficit disorder. Of course, even though he was 9 years old at the time, his cognitive skills were that of a 5-year-old. That means that, and that's so far he found it easier to make friends with younger children and play with them, go to places with them, always want to be, because that's what his cognitive skills were at a 5-year-old. Then they told me that he also had dyslexia. That was the first time I was hearing dyslexia. What's that? Dyslexia. What is that? They say, oh, it's a brain condition that makes people unable to read, unable to write, or unable or struggle with reading, writing, spelling, and comprehension. Oh, right. So that's the fourth one. And the fifth one was that his memory was very poor. He has low short-term and long-term memory, which means that with all of these challenges, there was no way, even with the best of prayer, right, that he could overcome them. So what was his solution? I had to do brain training for him in the US for 9 months. Of course, I didn't have 9 months to stay in the US, and what they were saying that I should pay was too high. So I was walking away disappointed when they told me, to the glory of God, they told me that there was a franchise they're selling to the rest of the world. So if I was interested in a franchise, I could ask. So cutting the long story short, I made a call and went through the process for franchising. And to the glory of God, we got the franchise in Nigeria. And we put him on the brain training program. In 4 months, I wasn't seeing anything. I was calling the US, guys, this thing is not working. You've scammed me. I said, keep going. And then on the 5th month, I saw the first sign. Not in school, but at home. He was watching a Yoruba movie. He doesn't speak Yoruba. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm watching Yoruba movie. Oh, come on. Why are you watching Yoruba movie when you don't speak Yoruba? He says, I'm reading the subtitles.
Whoa.
I said, you reading? Read, let me hear. And he read it. After a point, I paused it, and I said, tell me the story. And he told me the story. Wow, I was so excited.
Wow.
And then he said, in that case, when we get to morning devotion tomorrow, you're going to read the Bible passage.
Hallelujah.
Which used to be the greatest punishment you could give him every morning. You want to spoil his day? Ask him to read the Bible passage. Even if it is the 2 that says Jesus wept. He will look at it for 1 hour. But on this day at morning devotion, luckily, his Bible passage was 3 verses.
Hallelujah.
And he read them, gave it his interpretation, told us what it is. Wow, I was so excited that I had started to see the miracle of God happening in his life, right in front of me, right before my eyes. And of course, in that excitement, I wanted to tell his driver, the driver was taking us to work and school, and he said, oh God, that one is small, oh. Every billboard on the road is reading.
Hallelujah.
So he sees a billboard, he reads it, and even that morning we're going and he saws where they wrote, buy your cooking gas here. And he read it and said, oh God, these people are not serious. Why are they selling good cooking gas by the roadside? Don't they know it's dangerous?
You see?
Oh, wow.
So he's putting all those skills to use.
Now to use, yes. So that's why, and by the end of that 5th month, coincided with his 2nd term result. Examination came. His results usually are in D and F. But this time around, in the 2nd term, his results moved away from D and F to 1A for the first time. I saw 1A for the first time in his result. And then B and C's and B and C's. No D, no F.
Wow.
By 3rd term, all his results have gone to A and B's and 1C.
Wow.
Great transformation by God's grace and God's mercy.
Hallelujah.
So that's when we started to talk to people about it. However, in that process of time, we were also now training other children. We trained an 18-year-old man, a young man, who was going to Canada for school. And then after the training, we asked him, are you going to tell your friends about brain training? He said, no. Why not? He said, because brain training is for mad people. What? Why is it for mad people? Oh, anything brain. In my school, only people whose brains are not good go to learning support. Wow, okay. So our strategy team went into thinking and said, okay, but would you tell someone about the thing that helped you to read, write, spell, and comprehend? And he said, yes. Oh, okay. And what's that thing? That thing is dyslexia. So that's when the Dyslexia Foundation was now formed to provide the information and create the awareness about this. But when you then have got the information, the intervention itself is brain training.
It's brain training.
Brain training.
But it's now, just like the name has been changed so that people don't give it a label, a negative label.
Absolutely. So that people don't say brain training is equivalent to psychiatric treatment and all that. No. Because brain training is, as it is saying, actually brain training is nothing other than brain exercises. I mean, let's face it. We do brain exercises naturally at home every day. When you think of calling your children unconsciously, you have children, you want to call them. The mere fact that you remember their names and call them is brain exercises. Yeah, when you do multiplication table, you are doing brain exercises. When people play board games, they are doing brain exercises. But the fact is that the ones we're talking about now are the ones that have been scientifically developed and arranged in such a way that all the 7 cognitive skills are touched in the process of exercises.
So
That's
let's
what makes it
remind
different.
our viewers of
Yes.
those skills again.
Yes.
I know there is memory,
Yes, there's memory.
cognitive.
There is. Okay, let me start from the very beginning.
Okay.
The first one, as you will see in the curve, the first one is called attention skill.
Okay.
The attention skill has to do with focus and concentration. It's a brain skill. It's not. Many of us parents, and I made the same mistake when my child was struggling, we hire facilitators and send them to school. When the child is distracted, they tend to hit the child and say, pay attention to the board. That's not going to work. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of resources, because the thing that is distracting the child and making him unable to concentrate is in the brain, not in his body. So attention and concentration is one skill. The second one is called processing speed. The one that is also in the brain and makes people unable to process fast. Let me give you a typical example. You're walking with a child on the road and someone comes and says, hey, fine boy or fine girl, what's your name? Even before the child answers, the caregiver of the mother or the somebody jumps in and decides to say the name of the child. Oh, that shows that you're not allowing the child to process. That child is processing slowly. That's why he's unable to give the name automatically.
Yeah.
Now, in school, when they are giving them tests to do, they're copying from the board, they're always the last to copy. They're slow at writing from the board because they have a eye-to-hand coordination problem. The teacher is writing, they're struggling to write. If they have dyslexia, then they are struggling to see it, because with dyslexic people, sometimes the letters are just dancing on the board.
Whoa.
So they are struggling to ensure that they write when the letters calm down, but they never do. So that's processing speed. So at the end of the time, while they are still trying to write, you have cleaned off the board, or even the test, you are giving them the test, you are still trying to think and make sense of what the question is. The teacher has said, time up. So every time they never finish their work, every time you look at their notes, they don't have complete notes. That's processing speed. They're not fast enough. That's like, third one is working memory or short-term memory. They forget. If you tell them, go to the room, get 4 things, get my glasses, get the Bible, get my phone, the chances are they'll remember the phone because they want to play with it. But they will not remember the Bible. They'll go and say, oh,
the glasses.
yes, oh, Mom, what did you say? Daddy, what did you say? Because they only remember one thing, and the most interesting one often is the phone. That's because of short-term memory. Their short-term memory is poor. It's not working to capacity. So that's why they do that. And so even when they are doing simple arithmetic in class, you give them a physical 2 times 15, they'll write 20. Because they write 2 times 5 is 10. They know that. They write 0. Carry 1. 2 times 1 is 2. But they forget that they carried 1. And so they still write the 2. So that's why you find little mistakes like that in their notebooks. Which sometimes you say spell little, they say L-I-T-L-E. They've forgotten one T. They make mistakes like that. It's because of a memory problem. And if they are reading, they see the word T-H-E in the first part, you help them pronounce it. But the next time they see the same word, they've forgotten it. That's the working memory problem. So as a result of that, they cannot read coherently at all. Their reading is choppy, they count the words and cannot make sense of it. That's number 3. Number 4 is logic and reasoning. Again, a brain skill. Everything in life has a logical pattern. How you dress is a logical pattern. Some of them, they can't even button their shirts. That's why you see always the buttons are on the other side. They go to the gents during break and they come back, their pants are skewed. Yeah, because they don't realize there's an alignment. They don't get an alignment.
That one that they wear shoe left
and
inside right,
it's part
right
of it.
inside left.
Yes, that's logic and reasoning. Coordination problem. It's a brain thing. It's not because, so when you see a child or someone who is beginning to do that, as they start to do that, begin to find a solution, begin to find help for them, help them manage it. So logic and reasoning. The next one is auditory processing. In their brain, they don't have the ability to find the sound codes in words. Words have sound codes. For instance, the word cat, C-A-T, has 3 sounds. Ka, ah,
Ta.
but they don't have that. So when they see cat, they only see C, A, and T. And to make those sounds is a problem for them. So they can't get those counts correctly, so you have to help them to know the sounds. Auditory processing is about phonemic awareness, it's about vocabulary. Some of them also have very limited vocabulary. So when they want to use, they see things like flower. The next time they see the word like bush, they think, okay, they've seen the photo of a bush and the flower. So they simply call the bush flower. Because for them, they look alike. So that's phonemic awareness, vocabulary, and stuff like that. And then the next one is visual processing. As I said to people, you don't see, you don't hear, you don't see with your eyes. You see with your brain.
Okay.
It is the brain that sees and interprets. Otherwise, why would you be able to go to the bathroom in your room when there's no light?
Okay.
You're not using your eyes.
No.
It's your brain that guides you.
Yeah.
So, but that visual processing skill, most of them don't have it. So they cannot imagine, they cannot foresee situations that they are not looking at. They don't have that imagery in their heads. And of course, the final one then is long-term memory. So those 7 skills, attention, visual processing, auditory processing, all of them help us to build up our brains. So when these skills are weak, even if you bring an Oxford-trained or Cambridge-trained teacher to train this child, this child will struggle. Because those skills are weak. And the only way to help them out of it is to put them through brain training, exercises that they can do over time until they are able to get over it.
Those days, they beat people.
Oh, yeah. And call them names also.
I'm telling you.
Olodo in Lagos, I don't know about here, what they call them here. It's the same thing.
You know, like the amount of torture
yeah,
that
exactly.
those children go through, including bullying in school by their peers. Then
And
they
teachers.
come back home, they are still bullied. Like, it even has pushed some people to suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
And to think that this is the solution is amazing.
I met a young girl who said she was contemplating suicide because her mother said she was going to leave her in boarding school.
Oh my.
Because right in school, they make fun of her when she was a day student. She can't read, and she's supposed to be in going to SS1. She has struggled up to JS and passed. Now she's going to SS1. Yeah, and then the mother said, "Okay, you go to boarding." And she said, "Mommy, I can't stay in boarding." I said, "You must go. I want you to be in boarding." And she said, the first thing she thought, "Okay, this woman doesn't like me, so why don't I just kill myself?" And so. But luckily, she heard us, like we're talking now on radio or television when we're talking about it. And she brought her and we talked to her and we said, please don't send her to boarding. Let her be home. And let me say this. If your child has a learning challenge, please do not send the child to boarding house. Because one of the things you're trying to do is to increase the ridicule of the child. Then when they start ridiculing the child over time, he will get a low self-esteem. And when self-esteem is lost, everything is lost. Confidence is lost. And so even growing up, they will never be they'll be always unsure of themselves. They'll never be confident. They lose their self-confidence, and then it becomes difficult to then even enter a conversation or be feeling confident to say. That's why sometimes you ask them, what's your name? Or you ask them a question that they know the answer, but they can't say because they are not sure what they are going to say, whether it's going to be right or not, and they don't want people to laugh at them. People are so used to laughing at them.
Or calling them names.
So that's one of the things that we would try to avoid. And at home, please, if you're watching and your child is going through this thing, I can say, look, I went through it myself. I did all the wrong things I was supposed not to do at the time. I would beat him. I would abuse him and say, oh, look, I'm spending so much money on you. Look at your sister. And I'll actually leave him at home and take his sister out for dinner because she came back with a good result and his own has failed. So please don't do that. Try to celebrate even the little things. Give him a high, oh yes, you did. Okay. We tried that with a child. We've done that many times in our centers in Abuja and Lagos. When the child is 25/25, that's fine. If you give the child another chance, next time it will come 23/25 and then gradually. But there's nothing that now this support is available locally in Nigeria. So you don't have to take your child abroad. before you can do this type of thing.
Is it only for children?
Aha, good question. It's not only for children. Now, but the challenge is that when you have a child and this provision has not been made, this support has not been provided, then of course that person grows up. We have like between 5 and 10 adults in our various centers. Some of them are doing master's degrees. But they're still struggling with reading. They're still struggling with memory. They're still struggling with remembering. So it's not only for adults, it's for everyone. And our centers do work with people 5 years and above. Once a person is 5 years and above, we're able to support you. We can support you to ensure that you get the necessary skills. Now, it's not only for children or people who have challenges. Every person, you can become smarter than you are if you come to the program. A man came to us with 2 of his daughters. He wanted to go to university in America. They did 3 months of brain training and then went to write the SAT exam. They passed very well. Both of them passed and got scholarships.
Wow.
But the first daughter also got a tutorship, meaning that she will be teaching people further maths. Her classmates and all that, further maths.
Wow.
And earn $500 a week.
Wow.
So for the rest of her studies there, the man said he would never send them pocket money because $500 is enough for them to share and have a good time. So again, you don't have to have a learning challenge before you can be supported. Anyone can become smarter. Just come and do a couple of hours of brain training. All we require from you is 1 hour a day. And so I know that for Mina, we don't have a center here at Mina at the moment.
Because I'm sure people are out there wondering, how do we get this?
Very soon. As long as you can get in touch with Dorothy, you will be able to find us very soon. But we have a center in Abuja.
Yes.
In case you have relations in Abuja whom your child can go and start staying with, you can bring them to the center. We don't have boarding. We're not a school, so we don't have boarding facilities. So we have a center in Abuja. We have a center in Lagos. Lagos, we have 2 centers, one in Ikeja, one in Lekki. So please, God has already answered the prayers you have been praying about a solution to these issues.
And they shall be first and not the last. Let them excel and be excellent.
So
like
shall it
Daniel.
be.
Amen.
So shall it be in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Now remember, faith without works is dead. So now is the time for you to put appropriate and timely action to that faith by locating the Dyslexia Foundation so that we can give our children a greater opportunity to excel. And this is where we draw the curtains for today. I can't thank you enough for spending this time with us.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that you'll be getting forwards and referrals, as long as people contact us to say where.
It's the same God who was there for you in the midnight hour. It's the same God who is able to wipe your tears away. It's the same God who was there in time of lack and want. It's the same God, is Jehovah, my great provider. Tell me why you're giving up on God.